Nancy and I are going to recount how the toilet came into existence. I was getting ready to retire, 2006 I guess it was. 2008, that's when I did retire. We bought the boat in 2006, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So 2006, we went to the St. Pete sailboat show. I've been going for years, and we had gone the last couple of years, I guess it was, and started talking about actually buying a boat that we could retire on. We wound up at the boat show quite spontaneously buying a Gemini catamaran. It was an interesting experience. It was kind of a shock because we really hadn't gone there planning on buying anything, but we came away with a Gemini. 6 months later, we went up to Annapolis and picked it up and began our grand adventure of living aboard our Gemini lily pad we lived aboard actually for 5 years. About half that time was spent in our home port of Monroe Harbor in Sanford, Florida. And the remainder we spent cruising up and down the east coast of the United States a couple times, and briefly around to the Gulf Coast, the Keys, and then also the Bahamas. We had a great time. One of the problems we ran into within about 2 years was we could start to smell the head on the boat. And we noticed long before that this was an ongoing problem with about half of the people, the cruisers that we met as we were traveling around. We'd seen the composting toilet at the boat shows before that, and I'm always interested in new stuff like that. And so Nancy got to the point where she wasn't really enjoying the smell anymore. And,
in other words, I complained a lot.
Well, not really, but it wasn't really an overpowering smell, but it was just always there. So in the evening when we were relaxing, when we were having dinner, it was like always in the background, just very, very mild.
And it wasn't just on our boat. I mean,
No.
we noticed that we went on a lot of other boats and the same thing. So it was a hot topic of discussion.
Some of them were so bad that it almost make your eyes water when you went below. You could smell the head. So this is a serious issue with cruisers, particularly on sailboats, but on sailboats, houseboats, trawlers. In any event, we wound up spending one of our summers in Beaufort, South Carolina, where my cousin lives. We were anchored on Factory Creek, and we had decided we were going to stay there for a couple of months and sweat out the summer. And I was going to build a dinghy. I designed and built a dinghy called the Diving Duck. It was designed for diving in the Bahamas. When we had been in the Bahamas, we noticed pretty quickly we had a porta boat at that time, and it really wasn't suitable for exploring. It was nice that you could fold it up, but it was too flimsy to climb in and out of very easily. So I set to design a boat that someone could safely climb in and out of. As a matter of fact, it had a set of steps that dropped down the front. You could walk out of the water fully packed out in dive gear without even affecting it at all. It was also part of what I had designed as a man overboard system. The original plan was to hang it in the davits and have a quick release on it so that if somebody did go overboard, you could launch it, and it would serve several purposes. Number one, it would give you the capability of seeing the general area where the person went overboard, and it would also give them a platform to swim to if they were capable of swimming, and it would make a stepping stone for getting the person back on board if they were injured. So I got that project done, and we were having a real problem with the toilet at that time, and I tried some radical procedures to...
Wasn't the toilet, it was the plumbing.
Right.
And just the smell.
Yeah.
That permeated. I mean, you would open a locker in the galley and you could smell this.
This was only after about 2 years. So that was disappointing for sure. We paid as much as the price of a small house for that boat, and we weren't expecting that kind of an annoyance. So I built this boat that I christened the Diving Duck, which was for the Bahamas, and I had some materials left over, and we weren't ready to leave Beaufort yet. We were on Ladies Island, And I decided I was going to go ahead and try and build my version of a composting toilet. That was because we had an accident. We were having problems with odor, and I decided I was going to try and fix it. I used some radical procedures that were recommended by an acquaintance, and in the process wound up rupturing the black water line and dumping the entire tank and the contents of the toilet into the bilge. So as messy as that was, I decided it was time to do something different. And I took the scraps from having built the diving duck and cobbled together a little toilet that was along the lines of the ones that I had seen at the boat show, but there were some significant differences. And lo and behold, the thing worked great. So I tore everything out of the boat, the holding tank, the toilet, everything, threw it all in the dumpster. Some of it was still in pretty good condition, but I had no use for it after that. And we started using our little composting toilet. We actually had friends in Maryland used it also on board, and everybody didn't seem to have an issue with it. We got rid of the smell in the boat instantaneously. We began to notice it was way simpler than having to track down a pump out station, and just all around it was a better solution. I'll go into some of the detail of all of the really solid advantages of a composting toilet in another video, but right now I want to just concentrate on the story. So we got back to Florida. We wound up buying a house on a canal, put lily pad in the canal behind the house, and I set to work building the second seahead. And we decided we were going to try and sell it. And after that, basically the rest is history. It's been a success from day one. It is, in my humble opinion, better than any of the other composting toilets on the market for numerous reasons, which I will go over in other videos. But that's the short version of how the Seahead came into existence. I will say that the 5 years that Nancy and I spent aboard Lily Pad were absolutely wonderful. I wish we could do it again. We have some issues that prevent that, but nonetheless, the toilet marches on.